President Volodymyr Zelensky has instructed diplomats to work out within the framework of the Ukraine-NATO Council the possibility of developing a coalition of neighboring states that will help shoot down Russian missiles over Ukrainian land.
We must investigate the technological feasibility of using combat aircraft from neighboring countries to defend Ukraine against Russian missiles aimed at our neighbors. First and foremost, consider the alliance member countries.
Yes, just like Americans shot down Iranian missiles aimed at Israel, our NATO neighbors can easily do the same. This is a defensive countermeasure, not an assault one, so there should be no question but fears of escalation, of course. Like when the war is onwards and lands are annexed and Ukrainian people die on Ukrainian soil, that is okay until it is not an escalation. The Polish foreign minister said that Ukraine's request to shoot down Russian missiles from NATO territory is a matter for discussion. He noted that this is a matter for discussion, adding that the potential shooting down missiles associated with a number of risks. For example, technical ones, he said, concerning the range of these missiles, as well as legal issues. What will happen? He wondered if the missile debris destroys someone's property or causes someone's death. After all, this missile will not disappear into thin air, he said. Oh, and we in Ukraine thought Russian missiles, after being shot down, actually do disappear into thin air. No debris at all. Well, if Mr. Vronsky is right, and this is not the case, well then I guess Poland can just let them fly wherever the Kremlin has sent them at. While it is not Poland, of course. Well, let me remind Mr. Vronsky that President Zelensky mentioned that NATO countries could shoot down Russian missiles over Ukraine. Again, over Ukraine, which, as Mr. Vronsky could have already noticed, has been shooting down Russian missiles over its territory for 2.5 years for now, and can confidently tell Poland and anyone else in the world the debris of a Russian missile is a way better option than the Russian missile itself. If Russian missiles had been hitting Poland for the past 2.5 years, Mr. Vronsky probably would have certainly noticed that. But what is this escalation to Western partners, I wonder? Putin is waving his nuclear gavel, and all we ask in Ukraine is to shoot down his missiles that murder our civilians. And yet we have to carefully ask for a measure that literally costs our partners and allies nothing, in turn giving them a real-time air defense combat test. So why not? Why every time we hear about things that improve Ukrainian safety, we hear that strange term escalation? Is umbrella an escalation when it rains? Is a flak jacket an escalation when you're under shelling? Is shooting down a missile of an aggressor country reigned by an indicted dictator who steals your children, is that an escalation? Escalation is the Kremlin-invented term to use at any given moment when Ukrainian armed forces are actually getting stronger. So as soon as you hear fears of escalation, you hear nothing but Putin's fears voiced by those overcautious politicians, voluntarily or not. So don't get me wrong, I'm all about safety and cautiousness. This is exactly why I agree to Zelensky's NATO can easily do it, while losing nothing and winning a lot, testing its air defense at work, gaining safety in Europe, as Russian super precise missiles from time to time hit other countries, not only Ukraine, just by the way. And what is utmost important, Europe gets itself respect back, actually. Practically and solidly defending human values, and not just talking about it.